Okay, this is a new semester. We're going to get started with microeconomics, the second part. And microeconomics for the second part, we're going to cover the production and cost of a firm. So that's basically a corporate behavior. How the firms to get inputs and using the technology to produce output to satisfy the needs of the consumer. So basically, that's what a company do. And then we know that in the economy there are several different types of markets. So the best one that appreciated by economists is perfect competition. Okay, for a perfect competition company, they are price takers. So they never exploit the consumer. So they charge consumers based on their marginal cost, and consumer pay based on their satisfaction. So marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That is the best, the fairest way for an economy to run. And so in terms of consumer surplus, that is the best for consumer. And in terms of the efficiency, that is the best for the economy. Sorry, I cannot breathe. Anyway. And then we're going to talk about monopoly. Okay, for monopoly, what does that mean? Monopoly. Okay, poly means to sell. Okay, here is means to sell. And here is mono. Mono means one. So there's only seller. So for example, if you want to go from Gouging to Taipei, okay, there are several ways you can do. You can do it by bus, okay, you can do it by railway, right? But suppose you want to go from Gouging to Taipei in less than 2 hours. There is only one way, right? High-speed rail. So it has monopoly. But you know, whether a firm is a monopoly, it really depends on how you look at it. So for example, if you want to go from Gouging to Taipei, okay, there are several ways, okay, a lot of ways. You even can ride a bike, motorcycle, right, or ride a bike. But if you want to go from Taipei to Gouging, okay, in less than 2 hours, there's only one way. Okay, so whether a company, okay, is a monopoly, it really depends on how you look at it. Okay, if you look at it very narrowly, you may have only one. But if you look at it broadly, just like the transportation from Gouging to Taipei, okay, you have several. Because there are few competitors to HSR, high-speed rail. So because of that, it has monopoly power. It can charge, but remember that even for a monopoly, it doesn't mean that it can charge any price it likes. Okay? So for example, sometimes HSR has to have a discount, right? So for example, most of you college students don't have much income, okay? And so how can they entice you to pay to take HSR? 吴字典. How can HSR entice you to take it rather than taking a bus?
你说高铁跟巴士，
Right, bus is cheaper, right? But it's slower. HSR, more expensive, but is faster.
Yes.
Okay, so how can HSR entice you to take it? Oftentimes they're college student discount, right? You know that? But it is either in the early morning or they close to midnight, right? Why? Why? 林文琪. And they need to fill up the seats, right? And then they can get revenue. But somehow would you like to pay $1,450 for a seat? If you take a bus, it's only half that, right? So they give you, in Taiwan we call it 65% of that. In English we call it 35% discount, right? Okay, you get it? So even if you are a monopoly, it doesn't mean that you can charge any price you like, because you have to compete with the expenditure of a consumer. If you pay more on this, you have less to pay for the other things. Okay. So after we discuss perfect competition and monopoly, then we talk about regulation of a monopoly, because we don't like a monopoly to charge whatever price it likes. For example, right? At this point, gasoline is very cheap, very expensive, because oil is expensive. But somehow, the government has to say, well, we don't like this. So, the oil companies of Taiwan is a state company. Okay? Gao Jiayan, what is a state company? Or sometimes we call state-run. State-run company. 卢佑祥, what's a state company or state-run company? 宋方宇, what's a state company or state-run company? No idea? 叶雅珍, state company. It is run by the country. Okay? It is run by the country. It's owned by the country. For example, there's another company like this. It's called Thai Power. Okay. Lin Songfangyu, what's Thai Power? It produces power, electricity. What's Thai Power? Excuse me? Yes. It's a state company, or you call state-run company. So even for bus, that's the same thing, because it is about transportation, and everyone's, of course in Gouging is different, but in Taipei, everyone takes subway, right? Everyone takes bus, and here you ride your motorcycle because it's inconvenient to take a bus. And so for all those, the fees there, government has to impose a limit, because governments want to take care of the living expenses of the people, and they don't want people to pay too much of that. That will be the same thing for water, right? And also for postage. So what is postage? Wu Zhiting, what's postage?
No idea.
You go to post office to buy postage to mail your letter or packaging. What's postage? Gao Jiayan, postage.
邮票吗？
Yes. Okay. Okay. And probably after that, we're gonna talk about a little bit on welfare analysis. And basically, when we look at the welfare of the society, we look at consumer surplus, because you may be a producer, but everyone is a consumer. So we look at consumer to measure the welfare of the people. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about oligopoly. Oligopoly. So poly is also sale, right? Oligopoly, oli means few. Okay, oli means few. So perfect competition, there are many producers, many consumers, and so no one can affect the price. Everyone in the market is a price taker. Okay? Monopoly, there's only one person to sell, or one company to sell, like HSSR. So there's only one. So this company, it has the power to charge a price it likes. So for example, they can give you discounts, okay? But in my opinion, that's not fair, right? Because a professor is as hardworking as college students. Why don't they give me discount? Because I have higher income, okay? So that is something we call price discrimination. Price discrimination. That is called in Mandarin. Okay. Then there's another kind of market. It is called monopolistic competition. Okay, monopolistic competition means it has the characteristic of a perfect competition and also the characteristic of a monopoly. Okay, it has the power to influence your pricing and also your choice, but in a different way. Okay, and because there's competition, so it is to a certain extent not as bad as monopoly. And for oligopoly, actually there are many models, but unfortunately in this class we don't have enough time to cover those models. But we will briefly mention something very interesting. It is called game theory. Even though it is called game theory, but sometimes it can be very serious. For example, the situation between Russia and Ukraine. Okay. So what's the situation now between Russia and Ukraine? Can you tell us a little bit? Russia and Ukraine. What is Russia? 叶雅珍举手。Yes. What is Russia? Excuse me? Russia, you have no idea? Ukraine? No? 陈希才 Russia. Ukraine. Okay, so what's the situation now?
他们在爆发战争，然后乌克兰
Are you sure?
接近爆发战争，然后
Okay.
乌克兰的
So be careful of your words, right? Okay, go ahead. I just wanted you to be careful because you said they already fight, right? No, it's not true. They haven't. Okay, go ahead.
然后
Go on.
他的乌克兰的一些地方在独立，然后俄罗斯支持。
Okay, and then? Do you want them to fight? And how to, slow down the pace of building our forces? Okay? So we can use game theory to analyze all the situation. Sometimes it could be very simple, but a lot of times game theory involves complex mathematics. Even I cannot say I'm an expert there. There's one person, it's called John Nash. I can't even remember, he is the Nobel laureate in economics, probably in 1997, okay? You can watch a movie, it's called Beautiful Mind, okay, Beautiful Mind. And really, he has the insight to look at the whole situation, but unfortunately, the movie itself has some part that is not quite right about game theory. But anyway, he's an expert in mathematics. So when he got a Nobel laureate, some people put down a comment and say he is a great economist. Okay? But another reader said, no, he is not an economist, he is a mathematician. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, Yu Hua Yuan. What's an economist? Yu Hua Yuan, raise your hand. Okay, what's an economist? Louder. You got it right. Louder.
经济学家
Yes. And what about mathematician? Mathematician. What's a mathematician?
数学家
Yes. So what's the difference? So as a matter of fact, you're going to realize that in economics, okay, mathematics play a very critical role Okay, so I mean, if you want to study business, finance, and you don't have good command of mathematics, that is fine. But if you really want to study, focus on economics, you really have to have good command of mathematics. Okay, so that's generally what we're going to do in this semester. Let me use the book to tell you what we're going to do. Okay, so no one has the book? No one? Gao Jianye, where is your book? Okay, he got one. Raise your book. Okay, so you have one. Okay. I suppose someone should have it, right? You sell it? No. Anyway. Okay, let us look at the book. If you have the book, please share with your classmates. If you don't, okay, that's it. If you turn to your book, because we already covered chapter 7, okay? But then, as I say, production function and cost function, that is fundamental to analyze the behavior of a company. So we need to review it, and so that you know what we're gonna go from there. Okay, so cost function, production function. So chapter 7, the theory of production and costs. We're gonna do it again, and of course we're gonna assign some homework, and we're gonna assign that next week. Okay, and then chapter 8, that is perfectly competitive product markets. So we're gonna talk about perfect competition and what are the characteristics of a company in a perfect competitive market, okay, and what are you going to do. And chapter 9, that is actually a little bit about the working of a perfect competitive market. Is that the invisible hand at work, okay, so we're going to explore a little bit what's going on in the market, and the behavior and all the phenomena of a perfect competitive market. And then chapter 10, again, that's the application of it. So using the model of perfect competition, and the analysis is going to be the analysis is going to be the illegal drug market. So this is a unique phenomenon in the United States. They have very serious severe drug issues, but I think that's the same thing in Taiwan. So anyway, it's really bad, and somehow how to deal with that. Some people offer a lot of different ideas, and then the second part is called gains from trade. That's a little bit on macroeconomics. That is about why people trade with each other, and how you're gonna get something out of it. And the third part, rent control. Actually, last semester we talked a little bit about it, rent control. And then the fourth part is agricultural price support. That is something we have going, but I mean it is going on in Taiwan. For example, we have an issue about eggs. Okay. Okay. Oops. Wang Xiaohui. What's the problem with eggs now in Taiwan? Wang Xiaohui, raise your hand. Okay. Eggs. Do you know eggs? What's eggs? Okay. What happened now in Taiwan? What's the okay? Go ahead. Why? Really? It's Ukraine and Russia? Are you sure? You go too fast. But that's a good try. Is it really about Russia and Ukraine? Anyway, 金圣岛.
挺有感。
Okay, and what else?
然后鸡的蛋都有问题，然后价格就上升。
So can you give me an example? I mean, give you some terms in economics.
物以稀为贵。
So basically, there's supply, decrease in supply, right? Decrease in supplies. So decrease in supply, what happened to supply curve? 金正达. Decrease in supply, what happened to supply curve?
供给减少，
Yes.
然后
What happened to supply curve?
所以
Excuse me?
往左移动。
No, sorry. Go ahead.
它供给减少，
Right. What happened to supply curve?
供给线
Yes. What happened? It
left
shipped to the left, right? Supply curve shipped to the left. What you get? Higher price, lower quantity, right? So, how to deal with this kind of issue? 郑怡林, raise your hand. How to deal with this issue? How to deal with it? If you are Su Zhenchang, right? What you gonna do? Chong chong chong. It's useless, right? What you gonna do? It's easy. You can read the newspaper. It talk about it. 叶一方, what you gonna do? Wu Zhiting, what you gonna do?
政府要做补贴的动作。
Right. Su Zhenchang said, right? We're gonna subsidize people to produce eggs. Because you, of course, you sell your eggs, you raise chickens, and you sell your eggs, you get money, right? And now you get more. So you earn more. So will you produce more? Yes. Okay, subsidy, right? Okay. And also they, try to, find out who is storing those eggs, right? Supposedly, those eggs cannot be gone in 1 second, in 1 minute. The eggs must be somewhere, right? So they try to find out if there's anyone, stock it up and to wait for the price increase to sell, and that is not good. That's called price gouging. Okay, that is called price gouging. Price gouging. Okay, so what is price gouging? 宋方宇, what's price gouging? The first two words should be easy, right? Price, what's price? Okay, but you have to put it in the reverse tense. So, what price? 2 words. You push it higher. 2 words. Excuse me? That's just 1 word. 2 words and then price. 什么价格? You want it? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. 金正岛. Right, exactly. Okay. Price gouging. Okay, price gouging. Is price gouging good? Okay, so I'm not for all these phenomena, okay? For all these phenomena, we're gonna discuss it, okay? And then so that's chapter 10. And then chapter 11, monopoly and monopolistic competition. So it's a different kind of market, okay, monopolistic competition. For example, we have so many 7-Elevens, right? And this we call convenience stores. Restaurants, gas stations, there must be reason for such kind of market to be there, okay? And so in chapter 12, we're gonna talk about additional monopoly topics, pricing strategies, and public policy. So the first section will be price discriminating monopolies. So is a monopolist and then it price discriminate against people. Sometimes it is legitimate. For example, if you're gonna have a haircut, right? For the little kids, it's cheaper, but for adults, it's more expensive. Why? No idea. But as a matter of fact, if you are a barber, okay, so what's a barber? What's a barber? 高教练, what's a barber?
理发师，
Excuse me?
理发师，
Yes. Okay? If you're gonna cut the hair of a little kid, is even, I mean, that's the most difficult part, right? Because he keep crying. You're gonna spank him. No way, right? But they charge a little bit less for the kids, but more for the adults. It's just because income, right? Because adults can pay more. And then chapter 13, that is game theory. Okay, we're gonna, I mean, as a matter of fact, as I told you, game theory is very difficult and very complicated. But we're gonna talk a little bit, just several cases. That's it. And because it just involves too much math, and there's no way we're gonna get too much detail into that. And then chapter 14, okay, chapter 14, that is oligopoly. And probably when we get to this part, the class gonna be close to the end. And if we still have some time, we're gonna talk about chapter 15 and chapter 16. Okay? So that's about this quarter. This semester. Any questions? And so for the midterm, we're going to have 25 questions of multiple choice. For the final, that is the same. And as you can see, the style here is that very freely, right? And you got to read your book before you come here. Okay? Preview will help you understand what I'm talking about here. And review will help you get a good grade in this course. And so, anyway, you're gonna study hard. And so, any questions about this course and how you're gonna be evaluated and how you're gonna be graded? So, it's 25 multiple choice questions. So you get it right, you're right. If you get it wrong, okay, it's the end of the story. So you got to work hard. And I'm quite sure, because that semester it works out quite well. So I think, okay, questions. So, sorry. Lin Wenqi, what do you expect from this course? What's your expectation? Excuse me?
可以学到就是经济。
But you need to you need to know a little bit calculus, okay? So Wang Yu, what you expect? What's your expectation? Okay, you come from the same place. Wu Zhiting. And you?
可以学到更多有关个体经济学的东西。
Good. Nice. Very nice. Okay, we still have a few minutes. And so we are going to discuss what happened here is the final exam of last quarter. Last semester. Because when I was in the US, I was in a quarter system. So anyway, and we're going to discuss it. This help you know a little bit what we have talked about last semester, and so we can learn from there and move on to this semester. Okay, the first question. Lin Wenqi, please read it.
第一题嘛
Yes, read it.
Which of the following is correct? A income effect is always
Income.
Income effect is always positive. B is substitution effect is always negative. C is
Inferior.
inferior goods are also
Given.
given goods. So there is always one inferior good.
Inferior.
Inferior goods in a
Consumption.
consumption fund.
Bundle.
Bundle. Is all of the above.
Okay, apparently, some of you may not, may not be quite familiar with supply and demand. So I think it is good we go over this. So which one is correct? So income effect. We have two effects: income effect and the other one is called substitution effect. Okay. For income effect, it can be positive, negative. Okay, if something is we call normal, okay, if it is normal, income goes up, you buy more. Okay, income goes down, you buy less. That is what we call normal goods. So A said income effect is always positive. That's not true. It depends on what kind of goods that is. Okay, if it is normal goods, it's positive. Is inferior goods, it is negative. So for inferior goods, your income goes up, you buy less, and your income goes down, you buy more. Okay, so that's in the reverse direction. So that's what we call negative. So A is wrong. B, substitution effect is always negative. That is true. Okay, because price goes up. Okay, you buy more or buy less? You buy less. Okay, and price goes down, you buy more. And let me draw this very quickly. If you remember that when we talk about the choice of consumers, we have two axes. This is called X and this is called Y, okay? And this is what we call budget line. Okay, if you remember that, for example, Wang Xiuwei, you took this class before, right? Wang Xiuwei, yes or no? No? You are not sure? It's a bad memory, is it? Nightmare? No. Anyway. So we have a budget line and we have indifference curve, right? So this is indifference curve. And let us say price goes up. Okay, price goes up, then okay, the budget line rotates inward, okay, and then you have another, okay. So this is we call point 1, and here is the point 2. And we're going to dissect two effects. One is called income effect, the other one is called substitution effect. So we're going to draw another budget line. Sorry, this is all in last semester. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick review. And so if you don't know it, check the book. And so we have a budget line, a new budget line tangent to this indifference curve. Okay, so this is indifference curve 1, this is indifference curve 2. And so because price go up, right? Okay. Sorry, I draw it to the wrong direction. It should be here. So this point 3 should be here. Sorry, point 3 should be here. And so point 1 and point 2, sorry, point 1 to point 2, that is called price effect. So price effect includes income effect and substitution effect. And so here, point 1 to 3, that is called substitution effect. And price goes up, right? Price goes up. So here it is called substitution effect. So whichever way you draw it, it is always negative. So price goes up, you buy less. Price goes down, you buy more. Okay? So price goes up, you buy less. Price goes down, you buy more. The direction is different, right? Up, down, down, up, right? So because of that, we call substitution effect is negative. Okay. Question 2. Song Fangyu, question 2. Read it.
Which of the following is correct on the choice of consumption and
Leisure.
leisure?
Okay, this is a very specific case. So we say this is a discussion on the supply of labor. And usually we have two goods. It is X, Y, it can be anything, right? It can be milk, juice, whatever. But here we have two very special things. It is called leisure, okay, leisure. And here is called consumption, okay? Okay, so A, if income increases, the budget line moves out parallelly, okay? So if it is X, Y, that's fine, okay? If it is X, Y, that is fine, because if you have money, you can buy more money, more X, more Y, right? Okay? But for leisure, so Song Fang Yu, how much time do you have for one day?
24 hours.
If I give you 1 million, can you get more hours out of one day? The answer is no, right? So because of that, so this is wrong, okay? Because the maximum you can have is 24 hours. So if you have more money, can you have more time? No, okay? So A is wrong. Second, if wage rate increases, the budget line turns flatter. So it is very important because when you, in economics, you learn a line, okay, a curve, whatever, you need to know the slope. And the slope for this, if you want to know it, I think it is in chapter 5, okay? So the slope is W over P, okay? So if wage rate increases, the budget line, okay, because W is here, right? Okay, so it's called numerator. Here is called denominator. So, okay, Gao Jiayan, I say here is numerator. So what is this? In Mandarin, 2 words. Numerator. And here is denominator. Lu Youxiang. What's numerator? 2 words. Denominator. 叶雅珍，易雅珍。Numerator. Two words. The first word is 分. So what's numerator? 分 what? Yeah, then. Excuse me? Right. And here? Okay. There's very one easy way to remember it. Okay, numerator. Numerate means you get more, right? So you get sons. 分子. And denominator is even easier, right? This is called 分母, right? 底物, denominator. Anyway, 不好笑. Okay, well, so here is higher, so it becomes steeper rather than flatter. So B is wrong, okay? And he said if the price of consumption increases, the budget line will turn steeper, right? Price of consumption, price is here. If this goes up, actually it's gonna become smaller, so it's flatter. So C is also wrong. And D said wage increases will necessarily lead to shorter working hours. And this is also about substitution effect and income effect. Okay? I think it's about time. Let's take a break.